Hey landlords, my name is Eric Worrell and I work for a tenant screening service called RentPrep. And this video is for any landlord in the state of Ohio. If you have questions on tenant screening, this is the place to be. All right, let's get to it. So some quick tips in the state of Ohio as far as, placing a new tenant. For security deposits, there is no limit on how much you can charge currently in the state of Ohio for a security deposit. Most landlords though will do, 1 month's rent, 1.5, 2 months rent. I like to stick with a 1 month rent for the security deposit. And you should also know that in Ohio, you need to keep that security deposit in a separate account that is an interest-bearing account. So that means you cannot just say, all right, take this security deposit from a new tenant and just put it in your main bank account. You want to set up a separate account, maybe it's a savings account or something of that nature. That account's sole purpose is just to hold the security deposit for your rentals. Now I want to get into some tenant screening tactics that you can employ to ensure that you get the best possible tenant in your rental property. Before you even meet with a possible tenant, one of the things you want to do is you want to have a proper pre-screening process over the phone. So, you've put out a listing online and you've done some marketing for your rental property and you start getting phone calls coming in. There's some easy ways that you can easily weed out some of the weaker tenant applicants and save yourself the time and aggravation of showing the rental property to that person. So let's say somebody calls and they have some questions on the rental property. You want to make sure that you make your tenant screening criteria known to that person on the phone. So for instance, if you don't accept pets at the property, you don't allow smoking, and you have a income requirement for that property, you can make that all known. And those are all legal screening criteria that you, the landlord, can use for your rental property. As far as the income, a lot of landlords like to say that you have to make at least 33% income to rent ratio. So that means that they need to make at least 3 times the monthly rent at their job to be able to support that. So what you'll see is a lot of times you'll just weed out a lot of people just in those conversations because maybe they have a pet, maybe they're a smoker, or maybe they just don't make enough income, and it saves you the aggravation of going out and showing them the rental property when they were not a good fit for that property to begin with. And you'll be surprised, and maybe you won't because you see this with people a lot, but you put all those details inside of the listings, people just look over it. They look at the pictures, they look at the price, and they go, oh, that's the property for me, and they never see that tenant screening criteria. Another thing that you can introduce is you can charge an application fee for the rental property. In the state of Ohio, there is no limit on what you can charge for an application fee, but I tend to tell people to stay in that $25 to $40 range. That's enough that it will cover a background check on the tenant applicant. So if you've never done this before, this is a great technique for really just kind of getting some of the tenants that are really not a good fit for your rental property out of the way right away. So you're on that initial phone call with somebody and you say, hey, I charge a $35 rental application fee, and the reason I do that is I do run a background check. And the reason I do that is I do run a full background check on each tenant applicant. I just want to let you know that up front. So what this will do is if that tenant applicant maybe has a murky past and they have some things that they're hiding, they're going to say, you know what, this probably isn't going to be a good fit for me, and I'm going to waste $30 to tell this person that I've got a criminal record or I'm on the sex offender list or even something worse. So just by instituting an application fee and then letting people know up front that you do run a background check, you will see a couple of those bad tenant applicants just kind of weed themselves out, and you never have to waste your time showing them the property even. So then maybe you get to the point where you start showing the property, whether or not you choose to do personal showings or you just do a large batch showing on a Saturday afternoon, it's up to you. But you'll want to make sure that you get every tenant applicant to fill out a free rental application form. This is something that is for free on our website. What you're seeing right now is a tenant screening guide specific to the state of Ohio that we have for you. And we have a bunch of free forms and guides for you on this blog post that are all free for you. You don't have to opt in with your email, you just click and download them. And the free rental application form on the second page has a section where they can sign, which gives legal consent for them to run a background check and for you to contact previous landlords and their current employer. So you want to make sure that you get that if you're going to do those things. And of course, if you're tenant screening, you should be calling their current employer just to verify employment and also doing a background check. Hopefully you learned a few things from this video, and if you click the orange button in the lower right, it will take you to that blog post where you can get all of those free resources and forms for you. And of course, if you do need to run a background check, we would love to help you out with that here at RentPrep. We have over 20,000 clients all over the US, and we have live customer support to help you out through this process, and we're here to help landlords just like you. So hopefully you learned something, grab those free resources, and we'll see you on the blog post.